Hello, I'm Kelly Wilde, tranny tragic from Barnet in Hertfordshire, about 10 miles north of London. Now, today, what should we talk about today? Oh, I know, let's talk about snakes, serpents. How many times are snakes mentioned in the Bible? Well, at least 20 times, probably closer to 30 times. We'll start off with the one everybody remembers. Everybody knows about Adam and Eve. And here these two, they're in the garden, they're having the time of their lives, which hasn't been very long, but they're enjoying themselves, you know, they're prancing around, having a little play here and there. Now, God said to Adam and Eve, having plonked them into the Garden of Eden, now you can eat anything you like, anything from that bush over there or that tree over there, potatoes from the ground, whatever you like. You can eat anything you like except for one thing. You must not eat from the tree of knowledge. That's forbidden fruit. Anything except for, and by the way, if you don't know where it is, it's that one over there. See, that one there, don't eat from that one. Otherwise if you do that, I'll be highly pissed off. Got it? But there's a serpent in one of the trees, and it whispers in Eve's ear. Don't know whether it's a right ear or a left ear, but the snake, this serpent, this animal with no vocal cords, it decides to corrupt Eve. Now, I don't know whether the serpent spoke in Hebrew. Had they developed a language already? More likely they spoke in primitive sort of grunts, sort of ooh, oh, oh, oh. But let's say, between them, these two had developed a language resembling Hebrew by the time the snake, the serpent, appeared. And it just so happened, this was a bit of luck, or maybe it wasn't so lucky, the snake spoke fluent Hebrew. Eve was able to understand every word the serpent spoke. And what he said was, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Well, not exactly, but what he did say is, look, God has told you you can eat from anything in the fields, on the trees, in the bushes, but he's told you not to eat from the tree of knowledge. He's forbidden it. That's forbidden fruit. But I'm telling you, that's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You can eat anything you like, including this apple from the tree of knowledge. We don't really know whether it was an apple. The Bible doesn't say which or what fruit it was. We've always assumed it's an apple, so let's go along with that. So the snake says, I don't know how he plucked it, but he did somehow. Go ahead and eat this forbidden fruit. I promise you, I'll give you my word, no harm will come to you. So Eve falls for it. She's so naive, she falls for it and takes a bite from the apple. Yummy. I'm going to become a scrumper. Anyway, she enjoys it so much, she calls Adam over and says to Adam, hey man, take a bite of this. This is really scrumptious. Adam, oh, what a moron. He falls for it too. He takes a bite. That's the end of it. They both eaten from the tree of knowledge. And God is ropeable. He's absolutely furious. He bans them from the Garden of Eden. He puts an angel at the gate, or is it a cherub? I think it's a cherub, to prevent them getting back in again. Every woman from that point onwards will suffer. She will be in agony. That's God's punishment for what this sin that Eve committed. Man, what will man do? Well, they'll toil. They'll have to toil in the fields. And the snake, bastard, the snake will have to crawl on its belly for the rest of its life. And then what did it used to do? Did it fly? The snake is especially pissed off. He's thinking, what did I do to deserve this? Crawling on my belly for the rest of my life? No more ski trips, no more rollerblading, no more jogging, no more kickboxing. Oh well, what's done is done. It's a sad story. I hope you'll get over it someday, somehow. And now we come to one of the strangest stories in the whole of the Bible. It's about Moses, and it's about God. God waits for hundreds and hundreds of years. He watches the Israeli slaves get tortured and murdered, and he does absolutely nothing. He just lets it go on. Then one day, when Moses is 80 years old, older than me in fact, God says to him, Moses, I need you to take a stroll into Egypt and rescue all the slaves. And Moses isn't at all impressed. He says to God, hey, listen man, I can't do this. I've got uncircumcised lips. What? Uncircumcised lip? Anyway, you put your King James Bible down, and you pick up a more modern Bible, the New American Standard Bible, for example, and you look it up again, and what he's really saying to God is, I'm an illiterate man, I barely speak my own language, let alone Egyptian. Send my brother, Aaron, instead. He's 83 years old, and he's a little bit brighter than I am. Where on earth Aaron sprang from, bearing in mind that Moses was an orphan, and a long story we'll deal with at another time. He doesn't have a brother. But from somewhere or other, along comes this Aaron character, who, according to the Bible, is Moses' brother. Moses is still very wary about this. He's not at all impressed, doesn't like this idea at all. And God gets really, really pissed off with Moses. God hides in an inn, waiting for Moses to appear so that he can murder Moses. He's that pissed off with Moses and all his grumbles and mumbles and so on. But Moses' wife, what was her name? Zipporah, that's right. She says to God, listen man, don't kill Moses. I tell you what, we'll make a deal here. What I'll do, I will circumcise my son. He's in his 60s, and I just overlooked it. I didn't get around to circumcising him. I'll circumcise him now if you'll forgive Moses for being such a miserable fucker. So she grabs hold of, I've forgotten his name now, I'll tell you later, grabs hold of the son's penis, and he's a bit pissed off with this at 63 years old. She lays his penis on a slab, gets hold of a sharp stone, because remember in those days they didn't have scalpels or Swiss Army knives. All they had was sharp stones to do the circumcision. She lays his penis on a slab, saws and hacks and chops his way through his foreskin. There I got, look, see, poor old boy, whatever his name is, boy. Poor bastard, he's bleeding in agony, screaming in pain. And she's holding up the foreskin saying, there you are, God, look, I've circumcised my son, now you don't need to murder my husband. So God says, right, fair enough, I'll go along with that. And Moses is still wary, he's still suspicious of the whole deal. And God says to him, okay, look, I'll tell you what, toss your rod onto the floor. I don't think he's talking about Moses' dick. He's talking about his rod, his staff, whatever you call it. Toss it onto the floor and I'll turn it into a snake. See where we're going with this? And so that's what happens. Moses throws his rod on the floor and lo and behold, God turns it into a snake. It's wriggling and writhing around. And God says to Moses, okay, now pick it up. And Moses reluctantly picks this writhing serpent up, and God turns it back into a rod or a staff. How about that? Anyway, after a lot more argy-bargy and arguing and discussions, which we'll go into next time, Moses finally agrees to stroll into Egypt on the understanding that it's his brother Aaron who'll do the talking. Aaron and Moses confront the Pharaoh, and just to show how powerful his God is compared to the Egyptian God, Moses, he's learned the trick now, he knows what to do. He throws his rod on the ground and it turns into a snake once again. And of course the Pharaoh is impressed, but not that impressed, because the Pharaoh is surrounded with wizards and magic people, and they all throw their rods onto the ground and each one of their rods turns into a snake. So now, it's one snake against several snakes. Aha! But Moses' snake is just that little bit more clever than the Pharaoh snake, or maybe he was just a bit hungrier. Moses' snake gobbles up each one of the Pharaoh snakes. Gobbles them all up, or gobbles them down, whichever way it is. So the Pharaoh is now impressed because Moses' snake is more powerful than all his wizards' snakes. Ooh. This story goes on and on, but that'll do you for now. Can you stand another one? Now, years later, I don't know how many years, the Bible doesn't say, but Aaron dies and everybody's upset. They weep for 30 days and God tells them, okay, this is after the slaves have been saved and released, and the whole bit that we'll come to next time. God says, okay, next job, I want you to slaughter the Canaanites, these bastards over there. They're pissing me off. So Moses and his mob of butchers say, all right, fair enough, we'll do whatever you say, Lord. They slaughter the whole lot of them, men, women, children, babies, slaughter, 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 slaughter. God is well pleased, and he sends the Israelites on their way. But it's a long journey. They have to go all around the Red Sea, and this time he doesn't open it up for them. They've got to sort of traipse around the whole lot and build a bridge over it or something. Doesn't say it. But they're getting really, really pissed off with God. They've done what he said and what he ordered them to do. They've slaughtered the Canaanites. Now they're grumbling because they've got no food, they've got no water. They moan and groan. And God gets so angry with them. What he does, he sends serpents to bite them. Hundreds of them, thousands of them. And these are not just ordinary serpents, not ordinary snakes. These are fiery serpents. Oh dear, imagine that. Imagine being bitten to death by a fiery serpent. So anyway, Moses prays to God and says, look, we apologise, sorry we made such a fuss. And God says, okay, look, build a statue of a stone snake, and provided they touched this snake, or it might have been a metal snake, I'm not sure, then those that are still surviving, I'll save. And that's what happens, and a few of them survive, and everybody's happy as Larry. Now, there are numerous other stories about snakes in the Bible, but let's jump to the... No, let's go that way. Let's jump to the New Testament. Jesus, he's got his disciples in the palm of his hand. They'll believe any old shit he tells them. And one of the things he tells them is that he can bring dead bodies back to life. Yeah, no worries, Lord. And he says, not only that, look, I'll show you. I can cure leprosy, which is a bacterial disease. All I have to do is drive out their demons. Yay! Just drive out their, what does he call them? Their evil spirits, their wicked spirits. And they're cured. Oh, yeah, Why should we doubt that? And then he said, not only that, I'll tell you another little trick. You can pick up any snake. Just handle snakes, poisonous snakes, and they won't do you any harm whatsoever. You can drink poison, and if you see a snake on the ground, you can trample on it, tread on it. And it won't harm you. And to this day, there are thousands of people in the, what are they called, the Appalachians in the USA, and people dance with rattlesnakes and all sorts, and several of them get bitten, several of them die, several of them manage to survive, but their arms are rotten and paralysed. But according to Jesus, anybody who follows him and who believes in him, they can pick up snakes, handle snakes, and tread and trample on snakes, and they'll be as good as gold. No worries, mate. What a load of bullshit. Anyway, that'll do for now. That just gives you a little sample of the various snake stories in the Bible. Next time we'll deal with the Exodus, the actual rescue of the slaves, everything leading up to it, and it's the most gruesome, horrible, ghastly tale that I've ever read. Don't know about you, but you'd be hard pressed to find anything more horrible, more cruel, more diabolical than the story of how God eventually, after making them suffer for hundreds and hundreds of years, just for a laugh, how he eventually helps them escape. It's a long story. I might divide it into 3 sections, so be prepared. I'll keep everything reasonably short. I'll try to keep every session down to 10 minutes or less. So let's see how we go. Thanks for watching. See you later, alligator. Oh, we weren't talking about alligators, or we were talking about snakes. Never mind.